Today is Friday, June 15th, 2018, and this is your weekly Modern Ocean update. Now, many of you watching are probably wondering, why is he doing this and what is the Modern Ocean? I'm going to explain both those things to you. Now, there is a director out there by the name of Shane Carruth. In my opinion, he's one of the best filmmakers working today in the industry. And he started in 2004 with a very low budget hard sci-fi film by the name of Primer, which is an incredible movie. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a very good movie, a hard sci-fi time travel movie, which you don't see a lot of, and very mind-bending, tough to understand. It takes multiple viewings to get even close to completely understanding this movie. And then he kind of disappeared for a while, very, very secretive, kind of reclusive in a way. And then about 2009, we started hearing about his next project, which was going to be called A Topiary. And it was set up as this epic sci-fi film, and I guess funding fell through for that, and around 2012, 2013, it was confirmed that the movie wasn't going to happen, which seemed unfortunate. The script is out there, and you can read that if you're interested. And then about 2013, he released his second film, which is Upstream Color. It's a very like visual experience kind of movie, and again, it was very good. Both these movies premiered at Sundance, and they were the hit of Sundance. And the thing about Shane Carruth too is the way he works. He's kind of a jack of all trades within filmmaking, because he does everything. Yes, he directed both these movies. He's also the star of both of these movies, and he also wrote the movies, produced them, edited them, and composed the score for both these movies. So he does a lot. He does a lot for these, and I think about like 2015, they started talking about his next movie after Upstream Color, which was going to be called The Modern Ocean. Well, I mean, it is called The Modern Ocean. We haven't had any information about this film being canceled. And the movie is going to be about shipping lanes, and some conflict was going to arise about precious materials and secret locations. It's going to be just probably like another big sci-fi epic kind of film, like we were almost expecting with A Topiary. And just like how his budget went up from Primer to Upstream Color, this movie is now looking like it's going to have a considerably bigger budget and a much more star-studded cast. You have a lot of famous actors and actresses signed on to this. I mean, you have Anne Hathaway, Keanu Reeves, Jeff Goldblum, Tom Holland, Chloe Grace Moretz, Asia Butterfield, Daniel Radcliffe, and I think that's about it. Like I said, a lot of famous names are attached to this, and we really haven't gotten much information about this at all. The going thing is a 2018 release, which I'm not too sure about that right now. I mean, maybe it might start filming in 2018. I don't know what stage this movie is, what stage this movie is in, because that information is just not out there. Shane Carruth, he doesn't share this information like other, a studio like Disney will announce 5 movies for the next 3 years, and it's just not the way he operates. He doesn't have Twitter or Instagram or any of this social media stuff, and he's just more secretive and more kind of like J.J. Abrams, but to the extreme. So we don't know much about this movie at all. I can assume that there's a script out there that he wrote, and it's just probably in some stage of pre-production. Like maybe they started filming. I feel like we would know if that cast had gotten together for filming something. Although it could be, I feel like it wouldn't be too heavily CGI, given that it would still be a relatively low budget. I mean, a bigger budget compared to the $7,000 he used for Primer. Now, the reason I'm doing weekly updates on this and comparing that to the daily Half-Life 3 updates that I do, I thought about this, and I'm doing these 2 updates for different reasons. I said it before, the reason I do the daily Half-Life 3 updates is not because I'm like ever expecting news or anything. I mean, I have hope, but the main reason for the Half-Life 3 updates is for kind of to remind people, I mean, maybe not people, but just so it's known that this game is still, people still want this game. People are still a fan of this franchise and want this game. It's almost like to just keep the conversation going, so to speak. And the reason for me doing this weekly update for the movie The Modern Ocean is because with this I want to raise awareness, so to speak, for this movie and for this director, to get the word out about these other 2 films that he's made, which are incredible films, and I highly recommend them. So it's much more of, what I'm doing is very similar, but it's just for these different reasons, which is why I decided to do this. And there was no way I was doing daily updates for this, because that's just too much. But I do expect something, and this may change. This won't just be The Modern Ocean. If The Modern Ocean gets scrapped and he starts working on something else, I'll shift over to that. I didn't want to call it like daily Shane Carruth update. That seems kind of weird. So, obviously there's no news about The Modern Ocean. The most recent thing we've gotten is way back in like October of this year, October of last year. The Safdie brothers, they made like a cryptic tweet that made a lot of people connect it to like The Modern Ocean. They tweeted something like, "The ocean is always modern," which everyone immediately thinks it's connected to The Modern Ocean somehow, because that seems kind of obvious. So we don't know what that means. We don't know what sort of involvement they have with that movie, because they directed the 2017 movie Good Time, and that was also a really good movie. I think one of the best movies of 2017. So we don't know what their involvement is, if any. You think they would have some involvement in the movie. You feel like he wants to do the writing and the directing and the producing, so I don't know where they would come in. If they might take one of these, if they might take one of the jobs off his hands and do one of them. Maybe they direct it and he's still a writer and a producer, and probably starring in it too. We don't know anything about that. And then also they have Good Time was A24, so they have that connection to A24, which I feel like would be a good fit for Shane Carruth's next movie. A24 is all about the more independent movies and the movies that end up getting the Oscar buzz. Because I think if you look at the Oscars for 2017, a lot of them were A24 movies. Movies like Lady Bird and The Disaster Artist, and before that you had great movies like Room and Ex Machina and The Witch, and most recently Hereditary. Just these great movies that have been coming out from A24. It seems like a really good fit for the modern ocean. And now, obviously, these weekly updates won't be as long. There's probably not going to be news for a while, but it's weekly, so I won't have that many of them out. I'll have 7 Half-Life 3 updates per Modern Ocean update, so it's I feel okay with this. And that has been your weekly Modern Ocean update.